listen, tell where do we start? Where did you come from? And I want to know how you got to be Mrs. Illinois, and how you have 4 names like I do, and there's a bunch of stuff here. So.
Sure. Let's see. My family is from here in Elgin. I wasn't born and raised here in Elgin, but I technically was conceived here, if that counts, I guess. But
is that on your birth certificate?
My parents like to tell that story. Anyway, we have a church that we built out here, so I spent a lot of time here in Elgin during the summers and things with my family. I have 8 brothers and sisters, so a lot of times they would like dump us off at Wing Park or Lord Park, back when like the Rocket Park was there and other things. But I grew up in Crystal Lake, off of the lake there. So when I met the love of my life and all these things where we started to settle down to find a home, we really decided that Elgin would be the perfect kind of community to settle in. Like the historic district, because I liked how it was near O'Hare. I traveled a lot, or I can get downtown pretty easily. And we liked the community, so that's where I settled here back in, I think, 2005, permanently for me. My husband was here a little bit earlier than that. So.
It's a wonderful community.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree. It's not Mayberry, but no place is, but it's just wonderful. I love it. It reminds me, you know, I don't know why it reminds me of New England.
Really?
Something about it reminds me of New England when I drive around in the valleys and everything. Why? Tell us.
It's because the watch factory, all the leaders, the early leaders, came from New England. That's where they stole all the talent. When they came, they built houses in the New England tradition. Many of those buildings and houses still stand.
Yeah, but it's also the hills, the valleys, you know, all the trees.
Blame that on the Fox River. That's what we're doing.
I can see a little bit of that.
Well, see, when I first started coming down here, it was cold. It was beginning of November. And leaves on the trees, no leaves on the trees, and then you could see more of the landscape, you know, the land. And then when it snowed, and for some reason it just made me feel more New England-y. And don't forget, like I said last week, where I come from in the city, trees grow in pots.
Yes.
So I'm delirious down here. I hear you lost more than 115 pounds before you had your first baby, or your only baby. Only one child?
No, I have 2 kids.
Oh.
I didn't have them, I guess. How do you say it? What's the nice way to say it, children?
You married into them.
I married into you, children. I love you dearly, but yes, I married into you.
Oh, how wonderful.
No, it's instant family. Love it, love it. I already had 24 nieces and nephews, so they got 24 instant cousins, so they love it too. But yeah, I lost 115 pounds. My one side of my family has like severe obesity problems and all sorts of craziness to go into. A lot of that we're learning now is nutrition based, like a lot of things in the food in the last 50 years have changed drastically, and I can see that's a lot of the problems that certain side of the family has and things. I just think for genetically, you know, a lot of us came from that, if you've seen Braveheart, like the Scotland, I got the nomadic German side of me and all the other stuff. So we're just not active enough. We're American, right? We don't do enough. So it was probably about back in 2000, I started realizing that I was trying to basically starve myself or spend all this money on the latest fad or do all these things just to make sure I didn't turn in to my older relatives. Because, you know, you're in your 20s, you're trying to have fun, find love in life and my career and everything else. And, you know, so it just became like my whole life revolved around waking up and trying to figure out how to, like, prevent this inevitable outcome. And it just, that's what it started to be every day.
Every single day.
Yeah, and it would be working. I mean, I would fly full-time for my job to different things. I was a corporate trainer. I'd have to get the seatbelt extender and stuff, which is just horrific to go through. Trying to carry your laptop bag on your backpack and your luggage and everything, and just being winded, and you know, get to the taxi and try to figure out where to go. It's just, you know, it was hard. It was this thing you carry with you every day, and then you have to wake up and start doing it all over again. And being that young and just seeing, at that time, about 2001, 2 things happened. My cousin Stephanie, who was only 32, she passed away from cardiac arrest because she was so
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, how much did she weigh?
She was probably about 380 at the time. So
Bless
32,
her.
and then everyone would growing up said, "Oh, you're just like Steffi," you know. So that scares the crap out of you.
Oh yeah.
When that happens.
Could we say crap?
No,
Not twice.
I see it at home all the time.
If she says it at home and she has kids, it must be okay.
She's right.
Okay.
She's right.
So that was scary, and then that was the summer of that year, 2001, and then I was traveling a lot, and sorry, my phone is ringing. I apologize.
I couldn't figure out what that was.
I was wondering what it sounds like. This place is like
studio.
I was going to yell at the staff. I was going to go out the door and start yelling at people.
I'm so sorry. So anyway, I was working for a telecommunications client, and
Sounds like Jabba the Hutt. Go ahead.
and my doctor, like literally, it's really ironic, but he told me, he's like, you need to do something. You've taken like, you know what Allied is. You've taken all these drugs
Allied,
to try
yes.
to lose weight. You keep joining Curves and Women's Workout World, and you're like spending all this money, and I don't see you improving. You're like gaining weight, and you're not doing the right thing. And he said you need to start looking into other solutions. And I've had some patients that had success with gastric bypass or some other options, but you just need to look somewhere else because I don't really see you moving. And I got so offended. I was like, he's been my doctor since I was like 9. I was like, how dare you tell me that? It was really offensive, but you know, something to chewed on. I went and looked on the internet, some information, and tried to figure out some things. And then it got to the point where it seems sappy to say, but like 9/11 happened, and I had clients there that day I talked to that were in the trade centers that didn't
Died,
they
yeah.
didn't survive. And it was just hard, and I went to this like really deep funk where like it was even harder to get up in the morning, and even hard, and like I couldn't fly for 6 weeks because all the airlines were shut down. So like I was stuck at the home office all the time, like really feeling stupid. And then it started to creep in more like, okay, I really need to make a change. If I want to have the family I want to be successful, and I want to do all these things. And people keep saying, you're so amazing, and you're so inspirational. And they always say these nicest things about me. And it always felt like, okay, but you know how hard it is to be that? So, like, you know how hard it is to, like, actually want to vacuum my floor because it's like, you know, you get winded doing it because you have to drag up the stairs. So, I mean, that's where it got ridiculous. So I actually started looking at a couple of different programs and centers, and I worked with my doctor and saw a couple specialists, and this is where we started that out.
You are lucky that you are, when we spoke earlier and you told me you lost your weight by gastric, you're lucky because you're in the minority. And my doctors that I work with at Northwestern tell me that the success of gastric bypass is only 20%.
Yeah,
They said that there's an 80% market for what I do with motivation to help people with health and weight loss because it's only a success rate of 20%. And here we have a person who has been successful at it. And how long ago did you have it?
February 27th, 2002.
So
it's been a while.
Oh yeah, 8 years almost.
Yeah.
8 years, give or take.
And the nice thing about the program that I went through and ended up choosing this, there was a lot of emotional support. There was a lot of nutritionists, dietitians that helped you like relearn how to eat and do things so you didn't make mistakes. And believe me, there were still people there that didn't do so well at the program because they fought against everything. You know, you go through all this pain and change, and they still fall into old habits or like sabotage. And then that's where you see that 80%.
Where did you have it done?
I had it at Barracks Clinics.
Where's that?
It's Forest Health Systems now. I mean, everyone got bought out in the last couple of
Okay.
years. So it's mostly in Michigan and Ohio now. I'm not sure if there's still any in Illinois. But Alexian Brothers over there has a pretty good program now that took over for a lot of that as well.
Well, the reason I ask is because I went to the University of Chicago and I got screened. To 3 different major psychological screenings. You know, you went through them
Absolutely.
because they want to make sure that you're not like a whack job who just wants to go from one extreme to the other and then end up being an anorexic. And I had my surgery date and everything was all set, and I was invited, because I had a lot of questions, I was invited to a support group, and there were about 20 or 30 gastric bypass patients in a circle, and then behind them were all the support staff, the nutritionists, the shrinks, the nurses, the doctors, the everybody. The support like you're talking that you had. And when I heard 2 people, one girl, an African American girl, was crying her eyes out, and it was in August, and she said she hasn't been able to lose any weight. She stopped losing weight around July 4th when she slipped off the diet. She said now 13 months post-op, she said my appetite for sweets and sugars and starches and breads and everything that got me in trouble came back. My stomach has stretched back out, so I'm able to eat exactly what I ate right before the surgery. I can't lose any more weight, and she's crying. And then some other guy got up, he said the same thing, and again 13 months post-op, and he, you know, they were just totally distraught. And so the doctor must have been in the next room listening, because I noticed the door was cracked open and I could see somebody in there. And finally he just came in and he said, he strode into the middle of the circle and he said, when are you people going to learn that the secret to true and everlasting weight loss is move more and eat less? And I just sat there and I thought, what am I doing here?